Yo, what's up everybody, Stand 'em up here. This is a different type of video. Normally I just do predictions and whatnot, but for this one I decided to do my current top 5 bantamweights in the UFC based on physical and mental attributes, so just basically on skills. But I will try to do this for every division in the UFC, maybe even the women's divisions, we'll see. But I thought this was a fun thing to do for now because there's not a lot of things happening, not a lot of fights, so not a lot of content as well. So before we get into this one, I do want to give a quick disclaimer. Just because, for example, number 3 is ahead of number 5 does not mean that number 3 will beat number 5. This is just purely based on skill. This does not count in styles, matchups, and whatever. So with that in mind, let's get into the top 5, starting off with Song Yudong. A bit of a controversial one in my opinion. I don't think that a lot of people will agree with this one, but this guy is athletically freaky. His speed, his power, his vision, and his boxing is crazy. He came into the UFC as a guy who was only a good striker. You could see he had a lot of potential. His boxing was good, his striking was good, but the wrestling wasn't really there. He had trouble against guys like Cody Stamann, Casey Kenny as well. But since, he trained with Team Alpha Male for many years, now he kept evolving, and now he's one of the best anti-wrestlers in the division in my opinion. He showed that against Ricky Simon, absolutely dominated the fight and finished him in the 5th round. This guy is very good, very powerful, very fast. But the thing about him is his footwork isn't like really crazy. He is a guy that tries to cut off the cage and everything, but he does have trouble against guys with good footwork like Kyler Phillips, for example. This is a good example of what I mean. Kyler Phillips was able to just pepper him with jabs, with 1-2s, with low kicks, with high kicks, with kicks to the body and whatnot, to fend him off of him. Now Song Yudong did do well in the 3rd round in that fight because he does have good cardio, but he does have trouble with guys that have fast feet and just quick jabs and whatever. He had the same problems against Corey Sandhagen. He was getting beaten until the fight had to be stopped because of a cut on Song Yudong, which was a crazy cut, by the way. Pretty sure he was getting beat 3-1 or 2-2 according to some other judges, but in my opinion he was losing. And although I did just say that Song Yudong has good anti-wrestling, Corey Sandhagen did show that he does have a bit of trouble with guys who can mix it up very well, who can wrestle and strike, and he will likely also have trouble against very strong wrestlers like Merab Dvalishvili, for example. So although his anti-wrestling is very good, the wrestling in itself is just a bit different. He hasn't started wrestling since like the age of 6 or 7 like these Georgians or Dagestani guys, so he will naturally have a bit of trouble there. But in my opinion, he's developed a very good anti-wrestling game for himself at Team Alpha Male. Now going to number 4, Merab Dvalishvili. Now guys, this one is also controversial because some people will probably have him higher up, and if we look at it like matchup wise and stylistically, probably he might even become the champion. But like I said, this is based on skill, and in my opinion, although his wrestling is insane, his cardio is insane, his speed is insane, the striking isn't really there. He's hittable, his boxing isn't there, his kicking game is alright, but he's only able to be dangerous with the striking, like he showed against Piotr Jan, for example, the calf kicks. He's only able to be dangerous there because of the threat of the takedown. So if you put him in a boxing or kickboxing match against any of the guys in the top 5, he will get smoked. But because his wrestling is so insane and his cardio is so insane, he'll just be able to strike with those guys. And props to him. I'm not taking anything away from it, but like skill wise, his striking isn't very good. Like I said, his pace and stamina is insane though. I'm pretty sure he had like 49 takedowns on Piotr Jan. 38 of those got stuffed, but man, Merab is so determined. He doesn't care. He'll just go for another one and another one and another one for 25, 35, 45 minutes. This guy just doesn't care, man. Now, in my opinion, if you stuff 38 takedowns, you should automatically get the win. In my opinion, as I see it, Petr Yan beat Merab Dvalishvili, but that's just me. I'm sure some of you guys will agree, but whatever. Merab won. Yeah, it is what it is. This guy might be the champion, might become the champion after Marlon Vera gets his shot, but we'll see. This guy, in my opinion, skill-wise, he's at number 4, but like potentially this guy could easily become the champion. So let's get into the top 3. Guys, my favorite fighter at bantamweight, Petr Yan. He's very well-rounded. His Muay Thai is insane. His fight IQ is insane as well. And I know what you guys are thinking. Yeah, but what about the knee and all the mistakes he makes? Yeah, this and that. Yeah, true. But I am talking about the adjustments he makes in between fights. Like against Corey Sandhagen, he was getting beaten in round 1 and round 2, but he made some crazy adjustments to beat Corey in round 3, 4, and 5. And in round 1 and round 2 against Aljo, he had a hard time, but in round 3 and 4, like, he adjusted and absolutely dominated Aljo there. So this guy, fight IQ-wise, is very smart, but he just has lapses of judgment, and in which he makes crazy mistakes that have costed him a lot of his career. To be honest, I feel like his career would have been very different did he not knee Aljamain Sterling illegally. Man, it just makes me depressed thinking about it. And honestly, like, seeing the Merab fight, that was so depressing as well. It was just seeing Merab take him down, try to take him down, takedown after takedown after takedown, and literally seeing Merab outstrike Petr Yan just because of the threat of the takedown. And that was a depressing moment, maybe the most depressing moment of the year. And I have the high guard of his at a plus and a minus, because his high guard obviously is very good. He is very good defensively, but that does make him open for the threat of the takedowns, like Aljo showed, like Merab showed. So it is a plus and a minus in my opinion. So it is what it is. Let's just go to number 2, and that is Corey the Sandman, Enter the Sandman Sandhagen. This guy is very underrated in my opinion. Maybe not everyone will agree with this one, but I got him at number 2. In my opinion, his striking is insane. His fight IQ is very good. His body type is perfect for bantamweight, although maybe a bit of power would have sufficed, but whatever. He's also very well rounded. He isn't only a striker anymore. He also has very good wrestling that he showed against Rob Font. This guy has a great chin as well. He showed that against Petr Yan. Although he is hittable at times, it did show that he has a great chin. His distance management is very good, and he isn't really afraid to make the fight boring, although most of the time it's not. He is prepared to do that. He showed that against Rob Font and showed that against Chito Vera as well, in which he dominated both guys by just out-wrestling them. Now, the power isn't really there because of his tall, lanky frame. This guy is just very tall, very lanky. He does have a lot of power in his knees and his kicks, in his spinning shit, but like his jabs, his overhands, his uppercuts and whatnot, they don't hold a lot of power, and those are more to fend off the opponent. And the kicks and the knees and the elbows as well, they do the most of the damage. They make the cuts, give the no cut blows, like against Frankie Edgar, for example. Depressing moment, I know, but I had to say it how it is. His takedown defense may also be a problem. Now, granted, we haven't seen him really being taken down since the fight against TJ Dillashaw. He did defend the takedowns, get Petr Yan pretty well, and then also showed his improved wrestling versus Song Yudong, versus Rob Font, and versus Marlon Vera. So maybe his takedown defense has gotten much better, but we saw against TJ Dillashaw, we saw against Aljamain Sterling that when he gets, when they get to the legs, they can take him down, and on the ground, he's also a bit susceptible to getting finished there. I mean, yeah, Aljamain Sterling is crazy good on the ground, but a lot of guys like Petr Yan have shown that he isn't that crazy of a finisher. So let's get to number one. This one will probably be a bit obvious, but number one is, of course, the champion, Sugar Sean O'Malley. Skill-wise, in my opinion, he's just the best. His striking is insane. His power is insane. His speed is insane. His body type is literally perfect because he's so tall, he's so lanky, but he holds a lot of power. And I put mentality on there as well as a plus point for him, because I feel like this guy he loves being a star, and he loves this spotlight more than anyone else, and that helps him in the fights as well. I feel like that just gives him a boost and makes him a better fighter. I feel like in training he might be not as good or be working as hard as he is in the fight, and of course that's most important part. I feel like when he gets all the eyes on him, all the cameras on him, this guy loves it, and it just gives him a boost to fight, it just gives him a boost in the fight. One point that I will have to say is a problem for him is that he is injury prone. He's shown that 2 times now in his UFC career, once against like Sukmata or whatever his name is, and then once against Marlon Vera. He's just injury prone, and that's a problem. Like, he can get injured in the fight, and the fight will be over. He may be dominating the fight for 24 minutes 59 seconds and just get one leg kick and not be able to continue the fight. So it may happen, and I don't expect it to happen really ever again, but it may happen, and that's just a concern you'll always have with Sugar Sean O'Malley. But besides that, his takedown defense is very good. His distance management is insane. His power is good. His kicks are good. His BJJ is good. Now his wrestling, offensive wrestling, probably isn't great, but he doesn't really use it. Although it is important, I feel like his BJJ is very good. He showed that against Petr Yan. He showed that he can scramble. He showed that he can hang in there for a long amount of time. So, in my opinion, this guy is the number one most skilled bantamweight in the world, and that's why he does have the belt. So, although this was a top 5, I felt like putting some honorable mentions in here would make sense. Now, I do have to say, Aljamain Sterling is not on this list because he is a featherweight. He is going up to featherweight to fight Kelvin Kattar. He is not going to be fighting at bantamweight anymore. Not that I expect him to, at least. So I did not have him in the list. He would probably be in the list if he stayed at bantamweight, but I don't expect him to. My bad. So here are my honorable mentions: Marlon Vera, who's fighting for the belt against Sean O'Malley. Henry Cejudo, very good, very skillful, obviously great wrestling, but in my opinion just short outside of the top 5. Short, you know what I mean. And then Umar Nurmagomedov, a guy who a lot of people are hyped on, but I feel like at this point it's just too soon to say if he's really that good. Like, I'm sure he is, but he is very unproven. I could not put him in the top 5 without seeing him fight any real top 15 opponents. I'm pretty sure he hasn't faced a top 15 opponent yet, so you can't really have him in the top 5 when he hasn't. Now, all the opponents he has faced, he's dominated them, he's beaten them, he's finished them all pretty easily. But like I said, just too unproven. Maybe in a few months, in a year or whatnot, or so, I will put him in the top 5. Maybe he'll be champion. You never know. But at this point, I feel like it's too soon. So let's just get over the list real quick. 5 is Song Yadong, 4 is Merab Dvalishvili, 3 is Petr Yan, 2 is Corey Sandhagen, and 1 is Sean O'Malley. This is a bit of a controversial list, but this is my list. Let me know what you guys think, and I see you guys in the next video.